Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. This is the weekly market update live stream, and if you guys are watching this channel for the very first time, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and please make sure to like the live stream. Also, if you're not following me over Twitter, 𝗟𝘍𝗶𝗵𝘁𝘀, this is my Twitter handle. I have been regularly posting the market updates on my Twitter account also. So please make sure that you're following this handle, 𝗟𝘍𝗶𝗵𝘁. And finally, if you would like to receive more organized updates and calls, you can always join in the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. All of these links, the link to our Bluffin referral and the Twitter link, and finally the Discord server link, you can find in the description of this video. So let's start this live stream. And if you guys have any questions, any chart requests, then please make sure to drop in the chat box. This is going to be an extended live stream. Usually we do it for like 1 hour or so. I would just try my best to keep it, uh, you know, to just have an extended live stream so that, we are able to respond to the questions also. Amnesia is asking, bro, what the fuck has happened? What the fuck happened to FIDA? It's dying on us. It's not just the position that we opened, the long position that we opened. It's just the overall market also. So the US market just opened 15 minutes ago. First of all, an overview of two positions that we have open, two leverage positions that we have open. The first one is Bitcoin long position. Stop loss has already been moved to break even. So this one is risk free. But another long position that we just opened is on FIDA. This one has not filled. This one has not even filled the DCA, if I'm not wrong. Uh, Someone please let me know in the chat box what's a DCA for FIDA so that I'm able to update the entry, because I suppose that for those of you who are joining us from YouTube, you wouldn't have any idea about this position. So the lowest point was 5209. Yeah, so the DCA was not really filled. 5209 is the DCA, but anyways, uh for those of you who are not in this long position, you can enter at the current market price. Okay, so the stop loss is 0.04918. Remember that it's a hard stop loss. You can enter at the market price. Stop loss is a hard stop loss, 0.04918. The reason I entered into this long position, although, in my morning update, I clearly mentioned that there is a possibility that price will just, give a small pullback, and I would, move on to that part later on. But first of all, uh, update on FIDA. So the DCA has not been filled yet. 5209, 0.5209, that's the DCA for this position. You can enter at the market price. You would get a much better entry because price is like, below our entry point. Our entry point is 0.05610. You can enter at the market price. But remember that stop loss is 0.04918. Now, what's the reason that we entered into this long position? I did mention in that in that signal that I shared with you guys also, that the position is a little bit risky. The reason is because price is trading directly under 1 day 12 period exponential moving average and the 4-hour quarterly VWAP. So you guys already know that I'm never really going against these two dynamic levels, like the quarterly VWAP and the 1 day 12 period exponential moving average. And something that has been happening, with most of these altcoins is that they're trading under 1 day 12 period exponential moving average, not really under quarterly VWAPs, 4-hour quarterly VWAPs, but most of these altcoins in the market, they have been trading under the 1 day 12 period exponential moving average, right? And I would exactly explain to you the playbook that we have right now in the market in terms of altcoins, and that's just for short term, right? Do not expect me to explain something in a long term as to what exactly is going to happen with the alt run, the bull run, you know the altcoin run that we were expecting and all of that, because those things are just, optimistic beliefs. We should just be looking at the amount of information that we have available right now. So we should be discussing the short term outlook first. So first of all, I entered into this long position despite the fact that, it was trading directly under 4-hour quarterly VWAP and 1 day 12 period exponential moving average. Now, the reason why I entered into this long trade, because I thought that it's going to be a breakout. It looked like a breakout, price was breaking out, but then, it just died immediately. But overall, still it's sitting at support. You can see that this is a good support. If you would extend this support, you can see that price, although we don't really have any 4-hour close above this level, but if you look at this previous wick into this 1-day 12 period exponential moving average and 4-hour quarterly VWAP, again, the reason why I entered into this long position is because price is trying to break above this level. Once again, I would advise that if you're new to trading, if you're trading just with some of these indicators like 1-day 12 period exponential moving average, quarterly VWAP, never ever try to take a long position whenever price is trading directly under these levels, okay? Until and unless you see something like in which price would just give a 4-hour close. And my decision was mainly influenced by this coin. You can see that last night I was about to enter into this long position, but then I saw that price has not given a full close above this 1-day 12 period exponential moving average and quarterly VWAP. And by the time I woke up in the morning, by the time I noticed this coin back again, price was already up almost 10 to 15%. So same is the case with FIDA also. I thought that because the coin is showing momentum, and it really is showing momentum, right? Because despite the fact that most of these other coins in the market right now are in the negative territory, it still is positive only 1.5% gain during the last 24 hours. But when I shared this, it was up almost 12 to 14%. But anyways, let the DCA fail and then we'll see what happens. But right now it's trading under 1-day 12 period exponential moving average and 4-hour quarterly VWAP. There is a small descending trend line also, but before price gets past this descending trend line, we will need a solid close above this 4-hour quarterly VWAP and 1-day 12 period exponential moving average. So those of you who are not in this position, you can enter at the market price. You would have a very small stop loss. It's only going to be 0.04918. Make sure that you have the hard stop loss in place, because most of these coins are literally just shit coins. You just cannot trust these coins. And I'm hoping that it's just a formation of higher high, right? It's not, it's a complete reversal and it's a formation of a higher high. I mean, something like this in which price just created this high and then a low and then a new high, something like this. And this formation is really important because we are going to talk about this formation in terms of Bitcoin as well. Someone is asking about, can you check DGB? Stay away from this coin. That coin is literally a shit coin. It gives massive VIX, so stay away from that shit coin. DGB, the name is. So yeah. So the formation that I'm looking for, because on most of these altcoins, the formation that you had during the past few days was this one, in which they were constantly on the 4-hour time frame chart, constantly making these lower lows and lower highs. And ideally speaking, you would need a change of character, right? Ideally speaking, you would need something like this in which price would break above the high. That is going to be your change of character. But even if you do not have a change of character, you can look for a formation like this, okay? This is a low key inverse head and shoulder pattern also, but this is exactly also the logic that defines in an inverse head and shoulder chart pattern also. But this is the formation that we are looking for, in which before giving you a change of character, price would just give you a small higher high formation, something like this, okay? So something similar we are looking for in this situation also. Let's see what happens. Let's hope that this is just a small retracement, a DCA gets failed, and then price will create a new higher high. You can enter at the market price. Okay, now let's talk about Bitcoin. Wow, Bitcoin just dropped down to 102,000. So this is something that I did mention in my morning update also. I don't know how many of you are actually reading these updates, paying attention to these updates, but I clearly mentioned just 6 hours ago in my morning update that, okay, let's first of all read this morning update, and then you would have an idea about then you would have an idea as to what I'm talking about. During our update yesterday, we discussed how going long at 101.5k was a good decision due to the deviation above 9.6 resistance. So, anyways, in this whole update, I'm talking about Bitcoin, first of all, from the perspective of stablecoin dominance. But before we move on to that part, okay, before we move on to that part, first of all, let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. What's happening on the Bitcoin chart? We took this long position, although stop loss has been moved to break even. I'm actually thinking about re-entering this long position, but it depends on how stablecoin dominance behaves at resistance, and I would exactly show you what I'm talking about. But first of all, the amount of information that we are getting from the Bitcoin chart, let's talk about that information. First important piece of information, is that on the 4-hour time frame chart, it had two equal lows. The simple man theory comes into play. Whenever you have equal lows present on the chart, you would take a long position. Whenever you have equal highs present on the chart, you would take a short position. And not just on the 4-hour time frame chart, on the daily time frame chart also, which makes me believe that it's quite difficult that price will go back down and sweep these two equal lows. Okay, because there is a good formation of equal lows present around here. So there is a good possibility that price will now create a new higher high. Sorry, not exactly a new higher high, because a new higher high is going to be an entirely different thing. At least on the 4-hour time frame chart, it could once again be a formation that I just talked to you about. But let's just talk about the first important piece of information, which is the formation of these two equal lows. This formation has been confirmed. Now you can imagine that if you were taking a long position just on the basis of these two equal lows formed on the daily time frame chart, then this would be your entry, meaning that the chances are low that price will go back down and sweep these equal lows. But even if price goes back down to sweep these equal lows, that is going to be a really good thing for me, at least, because chances are that if price goes back down to sweep these equal lows, it will eventually go back down to sweep 98.2k. And if you would go and watch these previous live streams, the live streams that we did in the previous weeks, you would remember that we were constantly talking about the sweep of major swing low. We were constantly mentioning that the best possible long entry that you can get in this situation is going to be a sweep of 98.2k. I would not go into the details of that, the importance of it. I have talked about this multiple times during the previous live streams also. But the important part is that for some reason, somehow, we completely missed that sweep. The sweep of 98.2k did not happen, which was a bit of an unfortunate thing also, because this is something that we have been waiting for the past 1 or 2 months, a sweep of 98.2k. Just for a small reference, the range is still in play. Nothing really has changed in terms of the Bitcoin chart. This is your major swing low, this is your major swing high. Price is still moving in that range, 98.2k. If we have a daily close below 98.2k, that is when you would have the change of character on the Bitcoin chart. First time in 2 years, first time since October 2023, you would have a change of character. And price has been moving in an uptrend since October 2023. There has not been a single change of character market structure shift, and it is going to be a big thing. So all you need for invalidation is in close below 98.2k. Amnesia is asking, what is the reason it did not sweep 98.2k? I positioned my limits aggressively there. Um, I mean, first of all, you should not really be placing your limits unless you are dead sure that it is a sweep. I mean, you cannot be sure that it is a sweep unless you see a daily candle close. So even let's suppose in the next few hours price goes back down to 98.2k, we cannot be sure if it's a sweep or not. We would have to wait for a daily candle close. If the daily candle manages to close after sweeping this low, after sweeping 98.2k, if the daily candle manages to close above this level, even slightly above this level, it will be considered as a sweep of the previous major swing low. Exactly something which happened back on 5th of August 2024, when Bitcoin sweep the previous major swing low around 50,000, 49,000. We had a wick all the way down to 49,000. Then the daily close on that day was around 54,000, which turned out to be a really good opportunity to buy. So in this 2-year period, there has been only one single instance in which price swept the previous major swing low, and that was on 5th of August 2024, and that was a really good long opportunity at 54,000. So something similar could happen in this situation also, in which a sweep of major swing low and 98.2k may happen, and that is going to be a very good long opportunity. But once again, you cannot be sure about that. You cannot place the limits, because price could just easily close a daily candle below this level, and chances are that it could actually close a daily candle below 98.2k. We'll be talking about that part later on. But this is all something that we have discussed in detail during the previous live streams also. So let's just go straight to the main part, in which we have to discuss that where exactly, if price is going down to 98.2k, or if there are chances that it could close a daily candle below 98.2k, then what are the steps that we should be taking to capitalize on this whole move. So first of all, you have two equal lows present on the chart on the daily time frame, meaning that it is, I would say there is only a 30 to 40% chance that price would go back down and sweep these two lows or 98.2K. I mean, the formation of two equal lows, it's a quite an important confluence, and chances are that this is simply just a pullback. And by the way, I have clearly mentioned this in my morning update also, that uh 9.6K resistance. Now that the index has reached the 9.2K support, you can expect a bounce here towards 9.6% once again, which will most likely result in a deviation. So I've clearly mentioned that because stablecoin dominance is sitting at support, so there is a clear chance that it will go back up to give a deviation retest, because a deviation retest has not happened on the stablecoin dominance chart. But first of all, on the Bitcoin chart, nothing really has changed. We are sitting very close to the invalidation point. We are sitting very close to the major swing low. I'm in just one daily candle close below 98.2K, and you should ideally be treating every single bounce as a perfect opportunity to place a short trade. I mean, the whole formation is going to shift automatically as soon as you would see, let's say, a bounce upside towards 112,000, 107,000, 108,000, you would take a short trade. Another bounce, let's say, towards 102,000, another short trade. A drop down to 86,000, another bounce towards 96,000, another short trade, meaning that the whole formation is going to shift automatically, and then you would have a constant formation of lower lows and lower highs. Why exactly the rejection happened at this point? The rejection happened at this point mainly because TVEM band is present here. You can explain this from the perspective of stablecoin dominance also, or you can explain this from the perspective of TVEM band. All of you would already have access to TVEM band. I have shared the script with all of you. You can apply this on your trading view chart and you can see how perfectly it works. But price had a break below this level, below TVEM band, after like 6-7 months. So this rejection, it was expected, and this is exactly why I booked the TP at 104,000 just last night, as soon as I noticed that there is a strong resistance in the form of TVEM band present around here. So let's just have an overview of some of the things that we have discussed so far. The first important point is that although we are sitting very close to the invalidation point, we are sitting very close to the range lows, but nothing really has changed so far. A daily close below 98.2K is still the invalidation point, is still going to be a big event, and is still going to be an invalidation point for this whole uptrend to get invalidated first time after 2 years. This is the first most important point. The second most important point is that you have the formation of two equal lows on the daily time frame chart, meaning that even if there is a small pullback, there is an expectation that price will just make a move towards upside. You can actually notice this doodle that I have drawn. It's not just a random one. Something that I'm actually trying to show here is that whenever price after price starts making a reversal, after price starts moving from a downtrend into an uptrend, it is not going to always immediately result in a V-shaped recovery. I mean, price is always moving in terms of waves. The most important way to look at it is that even if there is no change of character, let's suppose that on the 4-hour time frame chart, price is constantly making these lower lows and lower highs. This is your lower lows and lower high formation. Let's just say that in order to let's just say that in order to get a change of character, price needs to break above 111,000. Now we don't have enough time to just keep on waiting for price to just go back up and give a retest, give a break above 111,000, just to be extra sure that this is going to be a change of character, right? And in these kind of situations, uh, I would say a not exactly strong confirmation, a relatively weak confirmation is that you can start looking for the formation of higher highs. Okay, let me just try to explain it to you. In the form of a theoretical schematic. Let's just say that price is moving in a downtrend. Sorry. Let's just say that price is moving in a downtrend like this. It could be any time frame, 4-hour time frame or the daily time frame chart. You have the formation of lower lows and lower highs. Now, in order to get a change of character or market structure shift, price would need to break above the previous high. Okay. Instead of just keep on waiting for that change of character market structure shift, which is once again going to be the best possible confirmation, what you can do is a weak confirmation is going to be the one in which price starts giving you in the same in the same external structure, in the form of internal structure, price gives you a higher high formation. Okay, let me know in the chat box if you guys are getting what I'm talking about. It's very important. Let's say you have a lower low formation, lower lows and lower high formation. In order to get a change of character, price would need to break and close above this high. Okay, so what you can do is, this is going to be the strong confirmation. But one weak confirmation that you can have is in the form of structure shift in terms of internal structure. So if price gives a break and close above this level, that is going to be the change of character, market structure shift in terms of external structure. This is just internal structure. But although internal structure is completely irrelevant, anything that's happening inside the major swing high and major swing low, that's usually always irrelevant. But the important point is that, in this case, price has started creating this higher high formation. So this is what exactly I'm trying to talk about in this situation also, that it's never really going to result in an immediate recovery towards upside. I mean, even if you look at the previous examples, also the previous situations in which these recoveries have happened, before the change of character happens, after a massive drop, you can see that you have the higher high formation, right? Let's say that the change of character was supposed to happen after the break above this level. Okay, please pay attention to this very carefully. This is going to help you guys a lot, especially for those of you who are always looking at the market structure. Okay, look at this formation. You have the lower lows and lower highs. Have impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, and corrective wave. You have a clear formation of lower lows and lower highs, and the change of character is only going to happen if price gives you a break and close above this high. Okay, this is going to be a change of character, market structure shift. But before that change of character happens, it's not an immediate reversal towards upside. It's not a one candle change of character. It's not giving you a change of character in just one massive candle breaking above this high. No, look at this. You have a small move towards upside, then another higher high formation, then another higher high formation, and then finally you have a break towards upside. So before price gives you a change of character, market structure shift, it starts giving you this higher highs and higher low formation, which is although contained inside this major swing high, because this is your major swing high, this is your major swing low. Anything that's contained inside is called internal structure. Although this is internal structure, right? Although this whole thing is internal structure, but still this is one weak confirmation that at least price has started to create these higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so price is never really moving in a straight line towards upside, in a straight line towards downside. It is always moving in terms of waves. So something similar you can expect in this situation also, in which you have a reversal which is happening. I mean, we cannot be dead sure if this is a reversal. This could just be like, I mean, another, very soon you may have another lower low as well. But once you have a break above this high, okay, this is the most important part. Once you have a break above this high, that is when you would know that, look, this is a higher high formation. Higher high and a higher low, meaning that price is definitely doing something. Okay, you have, once again, I would like to explain, you have price moving towards downside, you have price moving in a downtrend, then price gives you a, and at this moment price is trading somewhere around here. Okay, only if price gives a break above this high, okay, this new high that got created, this new high which is at 104,000. Now the importance of this 104,000 or 104.5k level is a really good one, because not only it's going to give you a new higher high, at least in terms of internal structure, but at the same time it's going to give you a break above the TVEM band also. I would show you the positioning, exact positioning of TVEM band. You can see that indicator for yourself, you can see that dynamic line for yourself, and you can um, you can notice that how perfectly it works. So you have this smaller retracement happening, and I'm hoping that it's going to result in price giving a break towards upside. But if you wish to be dead sure that it is a complete reversal, like you are a little bit skeptical that, look, I don't really want to get into this long position, because this could simply just be a new lower low as well. So in order to be dead sure about that, what you can do is you can wait for a 4-hour close above 104.5k, because this is going to give you a smaller higher high formation in terms of an internal structure. Now let's talk about the positioning of TVEM band also. If I just turn on these indicators, you can see that, let's just turn off the quarterly VWAP, 1-day 12 period exponential moving average, and you can see that this is the positioning of TVEM band. Okay, clearly TVEM band, price got rejected at TVEM band precisely at 104.5k it was perfectly bouncing at the TVM band. The last bounce on 10th of October at TVM band, another bounce around 17th of October at TVM band, and finally you can see that price has already lost this level, and now it's acting as a strong resistance. And the important part is that price had a break above this level. Okay, this was another nice breakout trade. You can see that price was getting rejected at this level. This was last rejection, and then finally you had the breakout trade, a bigger break towards upside. I mean, you could have simply just taken a long trade here, and you could have simply just enjoyed this whole move towards upside also. So, in this case as well, once you have a break and close above this level, once you have a break and close above 104.5k, not only it's going to be a smaller higher high formation and higher low formation in terms of internal structure, but also it's going to be a break and close above TVEM band, which is going to give you a really good opportunity to get into this long position. Okay, so just to be extra sure, you can simply just wait for price to give a break and close above this level, and that is when you can take a long position on Bitcoin. I mean, you wouldn't have the best possible risk to reward ratio, but you can still place your stop loss slightly below this level. Whatever the low is in this situation, let's say that this happens to be the low, then in this case you would place your stop loss right under this low. You would enter somewhere around here, and then you can take a long position at least up to 107,000 to 108,000. So this is my perspective looking at the Bitcoin chart. Now let's just try to support this thesis by looking at the stablecoin dominance chart also. Now, the best possible thing is that looking at the stablecoin chart also, you would reach the very same conclusion. So if we take a look at the stablecoin dominance chart, I mentioned this in my morning update as well. First of all, you had a nice swing failure pattern. This is the most important thing. Let's go to the daily time frame chart and show you the swing failure pattern. I have showed you multiple examples of swing failure pattern on the Bitcoin chart as well. I mean, this is the Bitcoin chart. You can see that this was your swing failure pattern, a perfect shorting opportunity on 14th of August from 123,000 all the way down to 107,000. Another swing failure pattern, another bearish swing failure pattern, giving you a perfect shorting opportunity around 124,000 all the way down to 98.9k. So you can see that how strong the swing failure pattern is. And by the way, we have only been getting these bearish swing failure patterns on the Bitcoin chart. The only last bullish swing failure pattern was back on 5th of August 2024 that I have been talking about over and over again, that I have been referring to as the sweep of the previous major swing low. So when I say that the sweep of this previous major swing low is going to be a good long opportunity, I am basically referring to the formation of a bullish swing failure pattern. Because if price gives a break in because if price just sweeps this low and gives a close above this level, that is going to be a bullish swing failure pattern. I can see that most of you guys have some questions in the chat box. I would be getting back to the questions part towards the end of the live stream. First of all, let me try to explain, or let me just try to support all of these things, all of this thesis, looking at the stablecoin dominance chart also. So in my morning update, I mentioned that because stablecoin dominance is sitting at support 9.2% level, so you need to be careful, because it's definitely going to make a move towards upside. But before we do that, let's just first of all talk about the swing failure pattern. You can see that this is your bearish SFP. Price had a sweep above this high, price had a sweep of this high, and then finally closed a daily candle below this high, which makes it a swing failure pattern. Now remember that, first of all of us already know that Bitcoin and stablecoin dominance, they are negatively correlated with each other. If one is going up, then the other one is going down. The next most important thing is that on the Bitcoin chart, the market structure shift has not happened. Price is still in an uptrend. Price is still in a bullish trend. The change of character will only happen if price gives a break and close below 98.2k. But on the stablecoin dominance chart, okay, price has been, because I have been getting so many questions from people asking me that if the stablecoin dominance chart is already moving in an uptrend for the past 2 to 3 weeks, then why exactly are we waiting for a change of character on the Bitcoin chart? The answer is very simple. Be it stablecoin dominance or be it USDT dominance, structure shifts on both of these charts are extremely common. When we talk about Bitcoin, the last structure shift on the Bitcoin chart was back in October 2023. You know, structure shifts on the Bitcoin chart are not very common. Okay, it's a very solid confirmation. It's not like the change of character is happening every few hours or every few days or every few minutes. You are talking about the daily time frame chart. You're talking about the Bitcoin chart. The structure shifts, they do not happen very easily because a lot many people are looking at these confirmations. But when you talk about the stablecoin dominance chart or the USDT dominance chart, you may have more than 40 to 50 different structure shifts during the past 2 year period. So that is why even if USDT dominance is moving in an uptrend, it can always start going in a downtrend. It can always have another market structure shift or something like that. But the important part here is that this was a swing failure pattern. Now, this was a very important high. And you guys must be thinking that why exactly we took a long position here at 101.5k. Although price got rejected here, but what was the reason for taking a long position at this level? The main reason was, even though the sweep of 98.2k did not happen, please pay attention to this very carefully. Now, this 98.2k is the external structural point. Same is the case with this major swing high also at 126.2k. This is the external structural point. That is why it is at really important level, not this swing low or not this swing low or not this swing low. Okay, because you can see that the sweep of this swing low did happen, but we didn't really pay any attention to this one because this is just an internal structural level, right? This is just internal structure. We are not really concerned with that. Same is the case with stablecoin dominance chart also. Look, on the Bitcoin chart, this was the low on October 10th. On the stablecoin dominance chart, this was the high on October 10th. On the Bitcoin chart, this low is simply just an irrelevant one to us. Even though it was a massive move towards downside, but because this was simply just internal structure, the external structural point exists at 98.2k, so that is not really our concern. Okay, this low right here is simply just irrelevant to us. But when we talk about stablecoin dominance, this low, even though it got formed on the very same day on October 10th, we are trading this low. I mean, if we had only sweep this low, which got formed on 10th of October on the Bitcoin chart, I would not have taken any long position. Even though we did not have the sweep of this low, we actually closed a daily candle below this low. But even if we had the sweep of this low, I would not have taken any long position because this is an internal structural low. This low has no importance. But when we talk about the stablecoin dominance chart, this high, which got formed even though on this very same date, at the very same time, we are trading the swing failure pattern. We are trading the sweep of this level. We were confident about the sweep of this level. The reason is because this is an external structural point on the stablecoin dominance chart, which basically means that even though both of these charts, they're correlated with each other, they are not perfectly synchronized with each other. Basically, Bitcoin has continued to create new higher highs during the past 1 or 2 years. But when you take a look at the USDT dominance chart, if I show you the weekly time frame chart for USDT dominance, you can see that this was the low on the USDT dominance chart on 14th or 15th of March, the same date when Bitcoin created a new all-time high at 74,000. This was another low on 30th of November 2024 when Bitcoin created a new higher high after the Trump won the elections. This was another retest of this support on 21st of January 2025. So you can see that even though Bitcoin has continued to create new higher highs, USDT dominance has never really had a break below this level. So both of these charts, even when you talk about stablecoin dominance also, even though all of these charts, they are correlated with each other, they are not perfectly synchronized with each other. So just because Bitcoin has continued to create new higher highs, that would not mean that stablecoin dominance or USDT dominance or any other correlated chart would also just continue to create new lower low, which basically means that the structure is different in both of these charts. Stablecoin dominance has been moving in an uptrend for the past, I guess, 2 weeks or so. But when you take a look at the Bitcoin chart, it has not given you any structure shift. It is still moving in an uptrend, and the structure shift is only going to happen once you have a break and close below 98.2k. So that is why this swing failure pattern, it was a really important swing failure pattern for us because it just gave us a sweep of the external structural high. And that is why we took a long position on Bitcoin. The second reason we took a long position on Bitcoin was because this is the resistance on the stablecoin dominance chart. Now, if you would go back in time, if you would look at the uh, at the history of this chart, you can see that in order to confirm a resistance level, you would need at least three possible point of contacts. Only if you have three rejections at a certain level, you would call it a resistance level. Or only if you have three bounces at a certain level, you would call it a good support level. But in this situation, you can see that we only just had one rejection at this level. We do not have any history on the left side. We do not have any rejections, any more rejections at this level. We do not really have three rejections at this level. But the important part is that TradingView, as I have explained this in some of the previous live streams also, TradingView for some reason decided to just remove all of this data, and we had data available prior to this date, and one of my students, they had already copied this template, and I had resistance marked at this level. I was not sure if there is still a resistance at this level, so they told me that there is actually a resistance at this level, because now we don't really have the data, access to the data prior to this date, prior to 19th of May 2025. But one of my students, they told me that there is a resistance present at this level, but because they copied my template, so they had access to all the data, so they actually looked at the resistance, and they told me that there is actually a resistance at this level. The point that I'm trying to explain is that even though you just have one rejection at this level, this is actually a resistance on the stablecoin dominance chart. And because you have a resistance, this is a deviation. You can see that price not only gave you a swing failure pattern, but also this was a resistance, and price tried to break above this resistance. But the 4 hour close eventually, and also the daily close, not just a 4 hour close, also the daily close was under this resistance level, which basically confirmed this swing failure pattern, and which basically confirmed this deviation. And as a result, we immediately took a long position on Bitcoin. Now, the important part is that the deviation retest has not happened. Something that I mentioned, all of these essays that I write for you guys every single morning, I hope you guys are reading those essays. Sometimes it could be boring, but yeah, you would get a very good outlook about the general market conditions and all of those things. You can see that stablecoin dominance is sitting at support. This is a support. You have rejections, you have previous rejections at this level. So this is definitely a support. 9.2% level. We have seen rejections at this level. Now that it has already given the first retest of this higher time frame support. Okay, so the first retest was always going to be a successful one. But the reason why I say that Bitcoin may have a successful bounce somewhere around these levels is because stablecoin dominance can actually go back up to 9.5% level and give you deviation retest. Remember that it's not just a deviation, but the deviation retest is also a very good confluence. So whenever price would go back up to 9.5% level, that is going to be a very good long opportunity for Bitcoin. You could, take a short position. Theoretically speaking, it's going to be a short on stablecoin dominance. It's going to look something like this. But because we cannot short stablecoin dominance, it's going to look something like this. Now, I don't exactly know where Bitcoin is going to be at that moment, but it's going to be somewhere around this level. 101.1K, 101.2K, or somewhere around these levels. And that is going to be a stop loss right under these lows, these two equal lows. And then you can target 107,000 to 108,000. It's going to be good risk to reward ratio trade, I'm telling you. So the stablecoin dominance chart, you can call it a little bit unlucky thing, or whatever, but the deviation retest is still pending, meaning that whenever price will go back up to give a retest at 9.5% level, it is going to be a really good long opportunity, and chances are that there could be a deviation retest because we are sitting at this support. And if you would ask me personally, looking at this deviation and looking at the fact that the deviation retest has not happened, looking at this swing failure pattern, I do not think that price is going to immediately have a break towards upside, which basically means that I do not think that price is going to have an immediate move below 98.2K. Even if there is a move, if you say that price could actually close a daily candle below 98.2K, then essentially what you're trying to say is that stablecoin dominance will break above 9.6% resistance and will actually close a daily candle or a 4-hour candle above this resistance. It is less likely at this point, considering that we have deviation. I mean, if you look at the Bitcoin chart, it's quite possible that it's very much possible that Bitcoin will make a move below 98.2K. But when you look at the stablecoin dominance chart, you notice that deviation on the daily time frame chart, you have a massive swing failure pattern, and the deviation retest has not happened. Most likely price will go back up, get a rejection at this level. So that is why you would say that, look, most likely it's going to result in a deviation retest, and price then ultimately is going to break below 9.2% level. Price is ultimately going to lose this support at 9.2%, and then it may eventually go back down to 8.4% level. That is where the next support is. If you are looking at the daily time frame chart, then it's very simple. You would draw the fib retracement levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave. In the previous situations also, we have seen something very similar happen. You can see that draw the fib retracement levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, and you had a perfect bounce at 65% and 70.5% fib level. So I'm going to do the very same thing here in this situation also. Draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, because now this is the new major swing high, and there is a possibility that you may have a bounce around 61.8%, 65%, 70.5%. So if we start breaking below this low, if we start breaking below 9.2% level, then it's going to be a move like this. And this is exactly what I am expecting. Okay, this is exactly what I'm expecting. A break below this level, then a move down to 65%, let's say a smaller rejection at this level, then maybe a new higher high. But looking at this swing failure pattern, you may argue that no, it's going to be actually a bigger downside move, because we have not really seen any swing failure pattern in the previous example, a bearish swing failure pattern on the stablecoin dominance chart. Looking at this chart, you cannot really tell if it is going to result in a reversal, meaning that I cannot tell you if Bitcoin is going to create a new higher high, meaning a new all-time high at this point just by looking at the stablecoin dominance chart. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, you can definitely not reach that conclusion. Looking at the stablecoin dominance chart also, even though we have a swing failure pattern, but still, this is just a new higher high, this is just a new major swing high, and price can always create a new higher high, giving a break and close above this high, which is going to be a break of structure, which is something, again going to be really bullish. But I would just explain to you a few other things real quick. I hope that it has all been making sense to you. I have tried to keep it as detailed as possible, but the most probable scenario is going to be the one in which price would break below this. Price would give you deviation retest, okay, and then it will eventually fall back down to these levels where 61.8%, 65% fib level is present, and that is where we would have to very carefully assess the situation, because that is where most likely there is going to be a bounce, a smaller rejection at 9%, then going to be a new higher high, which basically means that a small bounce up to 108,000, 107,000 on the Bitcoin chart, then a bigger drop below 98.2K. And I would exactly explain to you why, from the Bitcoin perspective, also, this is going to make sense. This is a Bitcoin chart. If we go to, it was, I guess, 𝗕𝗄𝗃 chart that 1 week. Okay. So if you take a look at the Bitcoin chart on the weekly time frame, and by the way, I would be explaining to you the Ethereum chart as well. Uh, this is the Bitcoin chart on the weekly time frame. You can see that the next major support is present at 90K. Okay, at least on the weekly, the weekly looks extremely clean. Okay, you can see this for yourself. This was the previous all-time high. Price gave a nice bounce at this level, then another break above. There is definitely going to be a big bounce at $90,000 level. Remember this thing. The best possible opportunity in terms of the weekly time frame chart that you would get is going to be at $90,000, because at $90,000, the first retest of this level has not happened, And I'm telling you, the first retest is the most powerful confluence. Break above, the first retest happens. Look here, the break above, first retest happens, successful one. Break above, look. Then break above, first retest happens on the weekly time frame chart, successful one. Now, what I'm trying to explain to you is that if the weekly candle closes like this in 3 days and 9 hours, now there is still time for the weekly candle to close. Maybe the weekly candle is going to close little bit above this level at 108,000, because that is not really going to represent a break below. I mean, you can see in this situation also, the weekly candle went all the way down to 103,000. Then the close was at 108.3k. Now, this is not signifying a break of this level, okay, because the wicks, they are not considered breaks. This is very important, guys. Remember this in the context of the Ethereum chart as well. Remember this in the context of Bitcoin chart also. If you have to make your life extremely easy, if you have to make your trading journey easy, start trading on the higher time frame charts. So on the weekly time frame, it's very simple. Even though we have a break below this level, but still 3 days and 9 hours till this weekly close happens. And remember that if the weekly close is below 108k or 107.5k, that would represent a loss of this level. That would represent that price has already lost this level, has already lost this weekly support. But if the weekly candle closes or manages to close above 107.5k, around 108k, maybe 109k, I mean, this can definitely happen, right? We still have 3 days and 9 hours. Last time too, we had a move all the way down to 103,000. Then for some reason, the weekly candle closed at around 109,000, and then you had a move all the way up to 115,000, 116,000. That is why I'm saying that the weekly candle matters a lot. The weekly close is really important here. But if the weekly close is, let's say, around 106,000, 105,000, 100, let's say 4,000 or something like that, then it would definitely tell you that price has lost this level, Bitcoin has lost this support, this weekly support. And now whenever the first retest of this level happens, it is going to be a perfect long opportunity. See, this was the first retest, a perfect long opportunity, right? This was the first retest, okay? You had a break below this level, this was a weekly close. Then after 2 weeks, price went all the way up to 88,000, and then you had a move all the way down to 74,000. From 88,000 all the way down to 74,000. That is why I'm telling you that if price gives you a retest of this level after the weekly close happens below 107.5k, that is going to be a perfect shorting opportunity for you. And this is something that I would call big short, because the first bounce most likely may happen somewhere around here. That is going to be a very strong bounce, because once again, the same thing, this is going to be the first retest of this level. So maybe at 90,000, you will have another retest all the way up to 103,000, 104,000, 105,000. And then at some point in time, remember that Bitcoin has to lose this trend line. So let me just try to, explain to you the most likely scenario in which the weekly candle manages to close below 107.5k, meaning that we would have already lost this level. Then price will go back up, give a retest at 107.5k, 108k. That is where we will take a big short position. Our stop loss is going to be above 115,000. That is going to be a big short position. We would have plenty of limits around in this range as well. Then we would take almost, then we would close 70 to 75% of our position, because that is where the trend line also is present. So the bounce is going to happen. Most likely there is going to be a wick down to this level and then a quick bounce at 90,000. If you wish to place the limit, you can do so at 90,000. I'm telling you that it's a very good level. Even if we draw the fib levels, let me see. Yeah, even if we draw the fib levels, 70.5% fib level is present somewhere around here. So there is definitely going to be a bounce at 90,000. If you want, you can place the limits at 90.2k or 90.3k. There is definitely going to be a big move towards downside, and it's most likely going to be a liquidation wick. Something similar to what happened in this situation also. It's most likely going to be a liquidation wick, then a quick move towards upside. Now, the reason why I'm saying that it's going to be a liquidation wick and not a candle which closes somewhere around, let's say, 91,000, 92,000, is because only if you have a wick like this, only then the trend line bounce will be confirmed. Now, I'm not really giving importance to this bounce, because this is not really a bounce. This is just a candle formation. This is the perfect first bounce. This is the perfect second bounce. In order to further confirm the authenticity of this trend line,
you would need one smaller bounce again. And that smaller bounce, in my opinion, is going to seal the fate for this trend line and Bitcoin chart also, because we know that once you have a smaller bounce at this trend line, even if it's a bounce from 90,000 all the way up to 103,000, that is when you would know that, price is now, trend line has been confirmed on the weekly time frame chart, meaning that sooner or later price is going to lose this level, and then you would see a few smaller bounces around 95,000, 96,000, 97,000, and then you would have a massive move towards downside, a massive break below this trend line, possibly towards 74,000. So this is the complete blueprint for you guys. I have tried to once again keep it as detailed as possible. Um, but it all depends on this, on the assumption that the weekly candle close is going to be below 107.5k. Then a move towards 107 weekly candle, let's say at 105k, weekly candle close, let's say at 105k, then a move into 107.5k. That is where a big short is going to be. We would exit the majority of that short position around 90,000. That is where we're going to take a long position. This long position is going to confirm the authenticity of this trend line also. That long position, the reason why I am emphasizing on $90,000 level is because I'm dead sure that it's going to be a wick, because only if you have a wick the authenticity of this trend line will be confirmed. Okay, the trend line will be further confirmed, and then you would have a very small narrow range, possibly a move towards 103k, 104k, another small bounce at this level, let's say at 98,000 up to, let's say, 105,000, and then finally a break towards 74,000. That is how it's basically going to play out. It's very simple. And regarding the Ethereum chart, I would highly recommend that you guys go and watch the live stream which I did last week, because during that live stream, and some of you guys were making fun of this. I remember, when I shared that update, people were making fun. Even during the last live stream also, people were saying that Ethereum can never go back down to $3,000 level. There are plenty of updates that I have shared on my Twitter where I have publicly mentioned this thing, that I had my buying on Ethereum at $4,000 level, 4,068, sorry, 4,017. That was my entry point on ETH. And I had, I guess, a 700k position, more than $500,000 position open on ETH. I exited that position completely at 4,200. I announced this multiple times in my Discord channel, on my Twitter account as well, that I'm exiting this position completely because of this weekly trend line, which was visible on the Ethereum chart. And if you guys remember, I did ask you guys, during these live streams to please pay attention to this and exit your Ethereum positions. And by the way, ETH has still not retested the support. The support starts from 2,900, not from 3,000. This is just a small bounce. In past also, you can see that the bounces have happened at $3,000 level, but the actual bounce is going to happen once price gives a retest of $3,000 level. Now, still 3 days and 9 hours for this weekly candle to close. We were planning to open this big short position on ETH. All we needed was just a small close below. If you guys would go and watch the last live stream in which we discussed in detail that you would just need a weekly close below almost 38.20 or 38.30. This weekly close unfortunately was at 39.06, and the weekly close that I was looking for was supposed to be below $38.90 level. So it was just a $20 to $30 miss, and because of that we completely missed this big short position. But hopefully, if in the next 3 days and 9 hours this weekly candle close is, let's say, somewhere around 3,700, 3,800, we would still take that short position. If not, then we will simply just wait for the retest. I mean, the playbook is very simple. I explained to you guys in detail during last live stream also that it is exactly the same playbook as what we saw happen back in 2021 also. A small weekly close below, you can see that, and then price went all the way down to first bounce at $2,900 level, first small bounce at 3,000, you can see that, up to 3,400. The same thing literally is happening in this situation. I mean, look at both of these situations and you can relate how similar they are. And during last live stream also, I explained in detail the similarities between these two moves. I mean, even by looking at these two moves, you can tell that both of these moves, they look exactly the same. You can see that in this situation, one small weekly candle close, this weekly close was at, this weekly close was at 3,829. And as soon as you had a weekly close below 3946 level. Ethereum's fate was sealed at that time. We had already lost this trend line, the weekly trend line, and we know that where there is a weekly trend line present, it is going to be a massive break above or massive break below that trend line. And in this situation, you can see that the first smaller bounce happened at $3,000 level, which gave us a bounce up to 3,400. In this situation also, you can see that the first small bounce happened at the $3,000 level, and the bounce has happened up to almost 3,300, 3,400. So most likely the weekly candle is going to close somewhere around 3,400, and then you would have another bounce from $2,900 level. That is where we're going to take a small position on ETH. You can see that because 2,900 is a strong support, so $2,900 level bounce, which will eventually take us up to almost 3,400. So we can definitely capitalize on this small move from 2,900 to 3,400. That is still going to be a $500 move on one ETH. If let's suppose you have a 100 ETH position or 70 ETH position, you can easily make $30,000 to $40,000 from this move. And then the actual bounce is going to happen at $2,100 level. And this was going to be my first target for this short position. The ideal case scenario for us is going to be the one in which let's suppose the weekly candle close happens somewhere around 3,700. As soon as there is a weekly close, we would immediately take that short position, placing a stop right above this level, and then we would enjoy this whole move towards downside. So this is my overview. This is my opinion about Ethereum right now. And once again, I was the one constantly mentioning that Ethereum is not looking in a good shape. The same thing that I'm talking about Bitcoin also. The first bounce, the second bounce, the third bounce, the fourth bounce, and finally you can see that we lost this trend line. So Bitcoin is not going to give you an easy move down to 74,000. Remember this thing, it's not going to happen immediately. Bitcoin has started forming. Bitcoin only has two bounces at this trend line, the first one and the second one. You will see the third one in the form of a massive wick down to $90,000 level. Then the other one will happen most likely around 94,000, 95,000. Then in next 1 or 2 weeks, you will see something like this. Exactly the same playbook in which price will go at least all the way down to $74,000 level, and then most likely down to 60,000, 50,000, which in my opinion is going to be the low, you know, because that is the lowest price, sorry, the mining price for one Bitcoin also, with the best possible equipment available in the market. Now over to you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat box. Amnesia is asking, how do you know where the lower highs ends a 4-hour close? Amnesia, could you please explain your question a little bit? I don't understand the question. Can you analyze Fartcoin, please, bro? Okay, let me do that. Hey, Sherlock, could you please check prompt and give me your view on that? Thank you for your time. Okay, let's start with prompt, then Fartcoin. Okay, I think a DCA just got filled. A DCA is about to get filled on FIDA. Okay, it's very simple. My point of view about this coin prompt, you can see that it has a massive resistance at this level. So unless price... Okay, a DCA just got filled on FIDA. So what is the average entry point now? I would have to look at my account, but I guess the average entry point is going to be somewhere around here. What's happening with Bitcoin? Okay, so Bitcoin just dropped down to 102,000. Yeah, it's quite obvious that price will go back up to this level. So let's set an alert. That is going to be the long opportunity for you. So we will take a long position on Bitcoin once we have this deviation retest, because it's very likely it's going to be a deviation retest and then the lower low formation, something like this. Okay. And if we are lucky, then it could simply just change into an uptrend. Okay. But anyways, we were talking about prompt coin. It's quite simple. First of all, uh, it needs to break above this resistance. Even on the 4-hour time frame chart, even on the daily time frame chart, you can see that this is a massive resistance for this coin. So it has to break above this resistance first in order for us to build any position on this. I would need just one daily close above or just one 4 hour close above this level, and then I would be more than happy to take this long position. And the best part is that the structure itself looks clean, the chart itself looks clean, and you can see that it's going to look something like this. Just one close above, and it can make a massive move. But unless it gives you a break and close above this level, I would say that because we are trading directly under resistance, so you should better stay away from this coin. Bruno is asking, do you recommend exit spot backs like Penguin or hedge short? Thanks. No, I would say that you must wait for better confirmation like change of character, etc. on the Bitcoin chart instead of making an impulsive decision. You know, and most people they are asking that people are asking that how are these coins going to recover from this spot? Most of the coins they're down almost uh, 70-80%. Now let me show you this chart for Zcash. This is how these coins are going to recover. Okay, so just a day before I had to go to Singapore for token 2049, I was planning to take a long position on this coin at this trend line breakout. Okay, at this trend line breakout. So price at that time was trading, price was trading maybe somewhere around here. There was a trend line, price was just trading somewhere around here. So it was on 30th of September that I was planning to take a long position on Zcash. And unfortunately, I missed this position. And you can see that just in 1 month or so, this coin has gone up almost um, from $46 all the way up to $550. And this is not a pump and dump scheme. You have 1,000% recovery, okay? A 10x move. And the previous all-time high, what was the previous all-time high for Zcash? Let me check. The previous all-time high for this coin was at 373. So it was down almost 99% from its previous all-time high. You can see that almost 94%. And then it completely recovered this whole downside move just in 1 month or so. What is the reason for ZEC going up? Zcash, because it's a privacy coin. I'm not exactly sure. I have not looked into it, but I guess it's a privacy coin because most of the privacy coins are going up. Uh, but the thing is that these coins they can easily make these recoveries. Okay, so you really need not to be worried about that part. If you're holding the right projects, I'm not saying that all of these projects are going to give you a massive recovery, but at least some of them are going to give you something. Most of them are going to give you something if there is some juice left in this market. And yeah, do you expect a new all-time high in Bitcoin? Now that's a difficult thing. I mean, I don't have any reason to say that. I don't have any reason to say that it cannot create a new all time high. I don't have any reason to say that it cannot create a new all time high. The reason is because the structure on the Bitcoin chart still remains bullish. So only if, let's suppose, we have the change in structure or market structure shift, change of character, only then I would have one reason to say, look, it cannot create a new all time high, because now it's going to take a very a big effort to change the structure once again. Because remember that from November 2021 to October 2023, it took almost 2 years for the structure to shift, and that was a cruel bear market. 2 years of bear market. So something similar has been happening for the past 2 years. You had 2 years of Bitcoin rallying consecutively. Yeah, unless you have a structure shift, you just cannot really say explicitly that Bitcoin cannot create a new all-time high. Let's take a look at Fartcoin. I think Fartcoin is trading below a big resistance. Yeah, so this was the resistance. Let's remove this one because Now, first of all, let it go back down to 22 cents. That is where the retest is going to happen. If you're holding this coin in spot, at least down to 20 cents. If you're holding this coin in spot, then honestly, I just cannot say anything. Okay. I cannot really say anything because, that is your personal choice if you are holding this coin in spot. But if you are holding with a leverage position, this is the support for Fartcoin. It can go down to at least 24 cents. This is the support, sorry. You can see that there was a small deviation below this level, and then the deviation retest happened, is successful. It turned out to be a successful one. In this situation also, you have a big deviation below the support. This is the deviation retest. So if you are looking to add into your position, if you have a long position open, you can add into your position exactly at this level, exactly at 0.2490. That is where you can start adding into your position. But remember that it has a few other resistance levels also to cover. For example, the next resistance is immediately at 32 cents. It would have to recover from this point also. I mean, it's just trading around the all-time lows already. Its previous low was at 10 cents. This is the support which it is sitting at right now. And by the way, the deviation retest is a good thing. If the deviation retest is happening, it's a good thing. Also, Sherlock, I used your scalp strategy, went over how you entered and used the 1 hour, managed to catch my biggest trade, AIA, waited for the 1 hour close at 2.15. Yeah, that's a good strategy. But the only problem sometimes is that when a lot many people are trading with you, uh you just cannot trade every other coin, every single coin. I mean, it becomes a little bit of a tricky thing if like a big number of people are trading with you. I'm holding in spot, crypto boy is saying. Yeah, if you're holding in spot, then I would honestly, I don't know what exactly to say. My Fatcoin holding is all in spot and bought it from $1.4 to $1.6. First of all, it's a shit coin. It can easily recover from this point. Okay. But I still do not understand why would you be holding, out of all the things available in the market, you had to choose Fatcoin. That's not a good decision. Would you mind checking over AIA to see if my analysis was right? Okay. Wow. So this was the support, this was the resistance for AIA. So you basically took the long as soon as you saw the 1 hour close above. Yep, that's right. 1 hour close above, stop loss below. I mean, I would have not traded this coin because you can see that it's a huge stop loss, but still a 54% move you were able to catch. Yeah, exactly. This is how you do it. And plus, it just gave a break above the all time high, so it makes sense. It is a good support. 2.15. Oh, 2.15. Okay, around here. Wow. Yeah. So you have a 1 hour close above. That would be your stop loss. I mean, right under this level, you can see that massive move towards upside. Can you still look at DGB chart, please? Okay, let's DGB. It's not available on Bluffin. First of all, let's take a look at the higher time frame charts. Yeah, this is the last time I traded this coin. But you can see that it's a very volatile coin, so I would suggest staying away. Good trendline breakout. If you could let me know, like, if you're holding a long position or a short position on this coin, what is your entry, etc., then I would be able to guide you in a much better manner. But it is sitting at resistance right now. It needs to break above this resistance. Let's see if the 4 hour close was above. No, no. Uh, there is actually no strong 4 hour close above this level, and it's sitting at resistance. You can see that already. It's sitting at resistance. So if you are long on this coin, then be careful.
And plus, another very important thing, a fake out above this level, a fake out, another fake out. This is not exactly a fake out, but three fake outs in a row above the same level. I would definitely not want to trade this coin. This coin has repeatedly given these fake outs above this resistance, so I would just stay away from this coin. This could very well be another fake out. You can only judge if it's a good position or not if historically speaking price has respected that level. I mean, you can see that price has constantly been giving fake outs since 9th of March 2025. Since the beginning of this year, there have been three fake outs above this level and a few successful retests of this level. Even if there is one fake out, I would avoid trading the coin. I mean, I would avoid taking a long position here. If you already have a long position open, that's a totally different story because you can see that it's making these higher highs. Impulsive, corrective, and impulsive wave formation. Good formation. But if you are looking to enter into this coin at the market price, then be careful because it gives fake outs above this resistance. My 4-hour 12 EMA is at 0.05164. That is below the current price. I'm using the same EMA script that you have shared. How can it be different? I'm talking about 1 day 12 period exponential moving average. 1 day 12 period exponential moving average. I'm not talking about 4-hour, Govind. That is the difference. Hey 𝗏𝘁𝗍, hope you're doing good, man. Long time no see, huh? Are you in the Discord server? Because I haven't seen you in a long time. How is everything in Philippines? Can you please take a look at EVA? Okay. Dot. Polka dot. Okay. Oh, this shit is completely dead. I don't know what exactly you want me to look at, but it's dead. You have a nice head and shoulder pattern. This is the head, this is the shoulder. Price had a break below this level and it has been going down ever since. This is another resistance. You can see that the resistance retest happened. And I guess we are breaking below another support level. No, price is actually sitting at the support, but I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks below this support also. Yeah, it's sitting at this support, but again, as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it gives a break below this support. If you have something like this, like if you have a few more 4-hour closes below this level, sorry, if you have a few more 4-hour closes below this level, that's when you can start that's when you can start planning a short position here. Something very similar to what happened here. You can see that you got consolidation below this level, you could have taken this short position. So if price starts consolidating here, you can look for a short position. Or alternatively, if price starts consolidating just close to this level and then gives a move towards upside, that is going to be a long position. So a consolidation very close to this level and then a move towards upside, that is going to be a deviation, and that is when you can take a long position here. At this point in time, there is no point trading this coin. Let me try to adjust it slightly. Yeah, this is much better. You can see that if you have a break below this level and then a move towards upside, that is when you can take a short position. Or if you have price consolidating in this range and then going back up, that is your long position. Taking a long position right now would make absolutely no sense because this was the retest, already a successful retest. This was a retest, already a successful retest. Now there is no point that you should be taking any position here. Yeah, it is sitting at support, so you can do the DCA. Can you check out Tau? They have halving in December and price. Uh, the chart looks very simple. It has not the chart for Tau. Sorry, the chart for Tau looks very simple. I guess I shared with someone just a day ago the complete detailed update. You can see that only I have an alert set at this level. Only if it gives a break above this level,
I would be interested in buying, or if it gives a deviation retest. I mean, in comparison, most of these other coins are very close to giving a deviation retest, like XRP. You can see that XRP is giving very close to is about to give that deviation retest. So if tau gives you a deviation retest, let's draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave. This is going to be a very good opportunity if we get this before December. I'm telling you. Set your alerts here, and that was, by the way, a trend line breakout, a small trend line breakout. But if you have this deviation retest, a move down to this level, this is going to be a deviation retest. This is a good level on tau, and considering that it's going to be a deviation retest at 0.618 fib level, 0.65 fib level, that is going to be a perfect opportunity to get into this coin. Yeah, it's one of the strongest coins in the market right now. Why do you think ICP, ICP, pumping despite the trend? What are you trying to say? Oh, why do you think ISP is pumping despite the trend? Predator is asking. ICP. Okay, first let's take a look at DOT. And before we do that, 50 plus people are watching the live stream. Only 27 of you have liked it. Please make sure to like the live stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps me, bring more content for you guys. So, and I would really appreciate if all of you are able to just like the live stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And do not forget to follow me on Twitter as well. Okay. So talking about DOT, uh, used to be one of my favorite coins and is basically dead right now. Polkadot. It's trading right under this resistance level, and surprisingly, it is one of the very few coins. Um, Actually, not surprisingly, because it's not really a surprise because it's one of those old coins. First thing, and secondly, it's very much dead already. It's one of the very few coins that did not recover beyond the resistance levels. I mean, let me show you what I'm talking about. After that October 10th crash, you can see that this was by the way, this was our position on Sui. We exited that position, we moved the stop loss break even for that position, so we are not really in loss on this position. This position is closed. But you can see that there was a wick below this level, below support, and then the close was above the level. Meaning that most of these coins, including H bar also, including LDO as well, most of these coins were able to recover beyond the resistance levels, beyond the support levels. But same is not the case with DOT. The close did not happen above this support, which is now a resistance right now. And now it's basically just going to be in a free fall. I mean, the next support, I don't know where exactly to draw the next support, but maybe around 9 cents. And then, yeah, it makes no sense for me unless it gives a break and close above $3.30. As I said, it is one of the very few coins that did not, after the October 10th crash, they were not able to recover beyond these levels, beyond the support that they were sitting at, which is now the resistance in most of these cases. So this is my opinion about DOT. I mean, you may argue that it may go down and fill the 50% of the wick or something like that, but honestly, it's just in a free fall right now. And I mean, literally at 90 cents, DOT gave you a wick down to 90 cents, and on that day, it was a 78% drop. I mean, October 10th is always going to be a very brutal memory for all of us. How close are we to ending this bull run? Can we realistically go in 2026 quarter one or Q2 still in bull run? See, I am not someone who's good with predicting these timelines, but the way things are looking, this last quarter is most likely going to be not so good. I mean, you may have these occasional bounces, but ultimately price may go back down to at least 74 to $60,000 level, these two levels. Okay, in all honesty. And maybe it's going to be something like May 2021, in which price will break, go back down to, let's say, 70,000. Back then also price crashed from 64,000 in May 2021 all the way down to 28,000, 29,000. Then in next 3, 4, 5 months, price recovered from that level all the way up to 69,000 and went on to create a new all-time high. So something similar may happen in this situation also. Maybe a crash down to 70,000, 60,000, and then a recovery above one final move above 126,000. But by the looks of it, things are not looking good, honestly. Just something to note, cumulative volume delta sell pressure dominated by Binance, CVD buy pressure dominated in Coinbase. Which coin are we talking about? Satoshi's block monk. Is others.d breaking descending daily trend line? No, it's not. I know that during the crash also someone mentioned that maybe others BTC is others.d is like giving a break below trend line, below descending trend line. No, it's not. This is the descending trend line and it's still in play. Maybe at some point in time we may have a break above this trend line. Maybe very soon we'll have a break above this trend line. But so far you do not have anything. This is a descending trend line, a very good find actually, but you don't really have any break above so far. Why you ignore ICP, Internet Computer Protocol? I did not ignore. I'm sorry. Okay, this is a chart for ICP. Wow, interesting chart. The first resistance already reclaimed. That was a good solid opportunity for anyone to go long in this coin. And this is the next resistance, next daily resistance that I guess price is sitting right at. Yeah, so price is trying to go past this resistance level. If you have a daily close above, I would say, if you have a daily close above this resistance, then it is going to be a good buy. Yeah, it has to be a solid close above this level, something like this. You can see that after this daily close, it has gone up almost 33%. So if it manages to give you a daily close above this level, it's going to be a good buying opportunity with move something like this. You have to keep it simple. And the fact that price has almost always respected this level, you should definitely take this in spot. Yeah, this is actually a coin which most of the times gives respect to these levels. So yeah, the next resistance is at $10. So that is easily going to be a 40 to 50% move. Yeah, almost a 50% move. The DCA just got filled on this, so you don't really have to close. Our entry now is 0.056. Let's see what happens. Okay, AIXBT. No, this one is trading below resistance. You can see this for yourself. If I remove all the drawings on the daily time frame chart, it has to give a break and close above this resistance in order for you to build any long position on it. I mean, at this point, it could be a good short position, but considering that these coins are just trading around their lows, I would not be interested in taking any short position. Um, but yes, because of this descending trend line, once you have a break above this level, the trend line formation has been confirmed. Whenever you have a break above this level, it's going to be exactly the same thing which virtual did. So let's set an alert around here whenever that happens. Hope Trump stops mentioning China or tariffs. Rate cuts did not really affect the market. They did not really affect the market because first, the rate cut expectations for December have already dropped a lot. And second, you do not have any dot plot. The rate cut announcements are always priced in. It is almost always the press conference and the dot plot, the two things that are not priced in. And this time we did not have any dot plot, and Powell himself exclusively said during that press conference that, there is a lot of disagreement among members about the December rate cut. What about prompt USDT? I already have explained prompt USDT chart. What would you do if you were in my position now and 70% of your portfolio is in Fartcoin and your average cost is 1.4 to 1.6? I mean, at this point, you are already down almost 70 to 80%, I suppose. Yeah, so your average buying is at, let's say, 1.4. So at this point, you are already down almost 84%, right? So if you had $10,000, you would only have like $1,400 or so. I mean, there is no point trying to exit here. You already lost 80% of your portfolio. Whatever you had invested in Fartcoin. So I would not say that, just exit and maybe like, start leverage trading with it. I would say that just keep that position open, write it to zero, or maybe just, because it's a shit coin, it can always make a move. Because it's a shit coin, it can always give you a massive move towards upside. But do not expect it to like, immediately recover from this point. I'm down so much. Yeah, you kept holding this position and now you are down almost 80 to 90%. There is no point exiting the position right now. If it was some other coin, I would have said, okay, you just exit the position. But Fartcoin is one of those coins that can easily recover from this spot. And do not forget that the market cap of Fartcoin is not 1 million or 50 million. The market cap is still 255 million. Okay. And the last time I looked at it, it was like back in December, it had a market cap of almost, I guess, $1.7 billion. This is what happens. And people were actually going crazy at that time to trade this coin. But should I add more fat? No, there is no point adding right now. There is no point doing that. Even if you do it, your average is not going to like it's not really going to impact your average, to be honest. Your average is a little too high. It's not really going to change anything for you. Okay guys, so do we have any other questions? Once again, I would request all of you to please like this live stream. Your weekly Bitcoin update says bull run is over. I'm worried about my spot positions and if I should buy spot positions now as most coins are down. No, you should not really be buying right now. We can do DCA into spot positions, but this is not the right spot to do it. My first mistake is to have 70% of portfolio on a meme coin. Yeah. When do you think the reversal might happen? Predator is asking. I already have explained, the complete scenario for that, for reversal. It has to create a new higher high, something like this. So only if you have this formation, then you can have confirmation in terms of internal structure that the reversal is happening. Uh, from the stablecoin dominance chart perspective, it first needs to hit this resistance level. So you have to wait for that. Should I exit my spot positions holding last 2 years 50% down? It depends on which coins you're holding. If you're holding just random coins, shit coins that have already died, have already gone down 99%, then the chances of recovery are not that big. But if you're holding some decent projects, then they can always recover. So far, someone in a neutral position now, you think he should exit the market as there is a higher chance of a bear market now? Um, in a neutral position, I mean, I am in a neutral position myself, but exiting the market, it depends on which coins you are holding. Again, if I was holding Ethereum, I would not immediately exit it, even if there was a chance that I could easily buy it at 2100. But if you are again down almost 90% and holding just shit coins, then there is definitely no way that you can recover from that spot. You would have to ultimately, close those positions and rotate your portfolio. You should have already done that. Maybe just rotate it into leverage positions or something like that. But if you have not done so, then, it's unfortunately it's too late. Solana. So I'm planning to take a short position on Solana. Just like Ethereum, Sol also had a break below trend line. This is the trend line. This was a short position. So whenever the retest of this level happens, we are going to take a short position on Sol. And by the way, once again, the same thing, no immediate recovery, a higher high formation. It has to be something like this. So now should I just hold my fart? I think you already know the answer. Hi Sherlock, I am in Black Link and Flame sent me your VWAP script. Can I ask you how you are using the quarter, year, month, and weekly ones? If this is the script that you are using, the quarterly VWAP, then these are the settings that I use. I mean, there are no settings. I'm just using the quarterly and the yearly VWAP, not monthly or the weekly ones, and that's it. You don't really have to change anything else. This is the quarterly VWAP, this is the yearly VWAP. As you change the time frames, the positioning is going to change automatically. I normally don't use the yearly VWAP. Normally, I use the quarterly VWAP. Hey Sherlock, 9.5% was the reverse point on Bitcoin chart, right? The deviation retest, I mean. Yeah, it's 9.5 to 9.6% on the stablecoin dominance chart, not on the Bitcoin chart. I mean, yeah, on the Bitcoin chart, that's when the reversal will happen. So on the stablecoin dominance chart, this has to happen. And there is a big possibility that this deviation retest, it will be a successful one. So be careful with that. I see there is a Wyckoff distribution pattern is showing off in Bitcoin. What is your say? I cannot spot it. I'm not an expert in Wyckoff, uh, you know, methodology, and it is extremely complex. Also, I mean, the Wyckoff pattern to is not something which you can apply on like a 4 hour chart or like a daily time frame chart. It requires higher time frames to notice these patterns, especially the Wyckoff accumulation and distribution pattern. But I don't think that it's going to be an accumulation. Obviously, it's going to be a distribution one. But yeah, it's quite possible if you are able to spot it. Just draw all of these things and send it to me, and only then I would be able to comment on that. Will you be taking this long on Bitcoin placing limits? No, no, no. I'm not placing limits. I'm simply just because I don't know where exactly Bitcoin is going to be when this deviation retest happens. So I'm going to wait for Bitcoin to first give this deviation retest and then we will enter into this long position. Guys, don't forget to like the live stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay, so I use a VWAP only when the chart acts as support, resistance, or breaking it or change of trend. Yeah, you would be using it just as you would use a normal support and resistance level. Thank you for what you do, bro. Thank you so much. You are so underrated. Thank you, thank you. What is Wyckoff? Um it's just a methodology. It's just a pattern. The Wyckoff distribution and Wyckoff accumulation pattern. It's so complex, you just cannot draw it like you just cannot pull up a chart and start drawing a Wyckoff pattern. If you move to 1 day time frame, you will see a distribution and support. While support seems broken, at 106K, 108K range, while volume supports it. If you could comment on this live, it would be really great learning. If you're talking about the weekly time frame chart for Bitcoin, I already have mentioned that uh, it depends on the weekly close. So if you would watch this live stream again, I explained in detail that I am waiting for price to give a weekly close. If the weekly close is below 106, 107.5K, 108K, then that's definitely going to be a loss of that would definitely be the case in which price would have already lost this level, and the retest of this level, it's only going to be the perfect shorting opportunity for all of us. But I just cannot really say if it's a distribution. I mean, if you are considering this as a distribution, then this was also a distribution. This could also be termed as a distribution. Really appreciate your daily market updates. As a beginner, your updates really help me understand the market. You are a great mentor. Thank you so much, Govind. Thank you so much. And I hope that, it's the same case with the rest of you guys also. I've just started giving a series of more detailed updates instead of just trying to keep the updates short. Makes sense, Sherlock. You're a good commenter. Thank you so much, Drew. Thank you so much. Uh, Once again, guys, don't forget to like the live stream. I think that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Make sure to like the live stream. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're not following me over Twitter, Sherlock Whale, this is my Twitter handle. I am regularly posting the market updates on my Twitter handle as well. And finally, if you would like to receive more organized updates and calls, you can always join in the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. Thank you so much. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much. It's my first time on the stream, and I do not understand a lot of it as it is complex, but it is helpful. You guys can always watch these live streams again. Uh, and these live streams, they are not just about what's happening in the market, but more, leaning towards the educational side of it as well. I'm always trying my best to make you guys understand these concepts as well. So yeah, these live streams are more educational than just a simple market updates. Make me one of your students. You can always join in the Discord server. Thank you so much, Nicholas. Thank you so much, guys. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you.